lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports, Let Go, Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports, Let Go.
What is going on, everyone? It's the EVP from the EVP Show, and we are live. Sorry, I am about 15 minutes late. I literally just finished watching the last episode of WWE Season 2 Unreal. It's been a very crazy day, so I do apologize for being late again. So yeah, I was like, holy shit, like I'm running behind. So yeah, this season was like a lot better than the first season. 100%. I feel like a lot of people don't like this show, obviously, because it takes you behind the curtains and, you know, you get to see things. Obviously, you see Ryan Ward, you see Road Dogg, you see all the people in creative that handle all the processes and behind the curtains. And like I said, a lot of people are not a big fan of that. But at the end of the day, I mean, with me, you know, coming from, you know, being in the know of a lot of things, it's definitely entertaining for me. I feel like to be able to watch that, and I mean, I learn something new, you know, every time that I watch the show. So it definitely takes you behind the scenes. I feel like this season was a lot more of like you know, I don't know. I felt this season they really what's the best word for it? They really told us a lot more and showed a lot more than season one. I feel like even like the graphics and everything was just phenomenal. There was not one episode that I felt like was super boring, honestly, in my opinion. But we are going to recap them. I'm not going to break this up into two shows because I'm just super busy this week. We're going to try to get this in. Obviously, I'll try to break down each episode. I'm not going to go like an hour per episode. I'll kind of shorten everything up because there's probably still a lot of you guys that haven't watched the show. But we are live on the EVP Show I normally do a pre-record, but I was like, I'm just going to go live. Yeah, so hope you guys are enjoying your day. We are actually going to be getting like close to like 16 inches of snow here like in the next, like this weekend is supposed to be really bad. So a lot of bad weather heading our way. So if you're in my area in the north, then be prepared because we got some really bad. We got some really, 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 really bad weather. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Not sure if there's a space or whatever. It's 10 o'clock, so but we're gonna go ahead and get started. Because I got 5 episodes to cover. Obviously, the show starts off, like I said, I feel like going from season 1 to season 2, it's season 1. I mean, they've already announced like season 3 is going to be like majority about the John Cena's last run. The retirement tour, which so there's going to be another season, which I kind of figured it would anyway. But I love how they broke it down this season, especially into 5 episodes. How they just they featured a lot of new people that they really didn't feature last season. Like last season was a lot about Cody Rhodes and Rhea Ripley. Um, this season we've seen a very good mixture of a lot of new faces, like Chelsea Green, where she talks about her new contract. We get to see her new house in Florida, and she talks about wanting to eventually have kids. And then obviously we kicked off we kicked off season 2 Unreal episode 1, titled No Days Off. It's basically in episode 1. It's this episode really kind of tells you the whole story with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Obviously, they had a baby. Becky had taken some time off, and so you can see like Becky's getting ready to, make her return. Obviously at WrestleMania, as Lyra's partner, and she's like super concerned that she's not going to get the pop, or like the fans are like not going to be happy to see her. And obviously, like, this is her coming back from like after having a baby and stuff like that. So and she did mention in this episode that this was going to be her last run. So yeah, I kind of figured that with her being a mom. I mean, unless her and Seth plan on having some more kids, but they didn't really talk about that. But they do show like obviously their real names, and that they got married in a little private ceremony, which I thought was cool. It wasn't some big, huge, extravagant wedding. I mean, they both seem very happy with each other. Even on the cameras, because I remember a comment specifically from episode 1 where Michael P.S. Hayes is talking about how like he didn't even really know they were like together until like he seen them like making out or kissing or whatever. But he said like he made the comment of like telling them to like get a room, so to speak. But like I said, episode 1 is called No Days Off. Basically like about Seth Rollins leading the SummerSlam era. The episode highlights Seth Rollins as WWE's central figure heading into the post WrestleMania period, framing him as the tip top of the business. Seth obviously reflects on his journey with multiple ring names. Seth goes over all the different ring names, so does Becky as well. I think the part that I really enjoyed about Seth in episode 1 was about the Dusty Rhodes. I mean, he was even talking like Dusty Rhodes. So he basically was like, Dusty gave him that name. And Dusty was like, I can't do the Dusty Rhodes voice, or obviously I would. But Dusty was like, I can see this headline in WrestleMania. Dusty Rhodes always had that eye for talent. So you could tell that Seth was like super proud of, everything that Dusty Rhodes did for him. He chose his current name. He was doing he sounded better than Cody, doing the impression of Dusty Rhodes. He talked openly about balancing life on the road with family, especially like supporting his wife, Becky Lynch. And then like we shift the focus, like I said, to Becky Lynch, the return to WrestleMania and back to the grind. Like that's why the is considered No Days Off. Yeah, you can see like how Triple H and creative like they work the angle of Becky coming back. You know, but Becky's main goal, like Becky, so being some involved with people that they give out information, and obviously I've seen a couple of people in there like Ron Ward, Road Dog, Michael PSA, which I think Road Dog is like honestly doesn't know what he's doing half the time, but you know, Ryan Ward's in there. He's phenomenal, and creative. So I am glad to see that they do have Ryan Ward in there. But Becky discusses her time away from the ring, after motherhood, her contract decisions, which I spoke about earlier. She did state that this is her last run, but Becky is and I kind of talked about this on shows and even back when I was doing Twitter Spaces and stuff like that. How Becky, you know, even though she came back, like a lot of people were upset that she took Bailey's, spot away at WrestleMania, and her and Lyra beat Liv and Raquel at WrestleMania for those tag team titles. But then the following night, Triple H talks about in episode 1 where you know how do we get Becky back over to the hill to being a heel? Because obviously Becky's main goal is she feels like Lyra is the future of one of the future pieces of the company, and with her being on this last run, she felt it was important um to be able to get Lyra over. And I had said time in and time out, like they got to do something with this women's Intercontinental Championship. Back a long time ago. Even when I was just still doing stuff on X. So putting the title on Becky, it was she did that so that she could elevate Lyra, and what she did. And then she just obviously elevated Maxine Dupree. So hats off to Becky, but this is apparently her last run. So like I've said on Sunday Scoops, like I do feel like she's gonna have that Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania with AJ Lee. So I mean that's pretty much inevitable. She talked about the emotional toll and how returning to shape, like it shows like her finally getting back in the ring. She's talking about getting calluses and stuff like that. But Becky, she had no ring rust when she got back into the ring. For on as far as like episode 1, she looked great. Just 1 second, guys. I just got an important message. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Anyway, let's see. Triple H and Stephanie now the owners in control. No one or company is competing with them. Absolutely not. Triple H is bringing back wrestlers from AEW like Samoa Joe. AEW Yanni will fall eventually. I'm not quite sure what that last part means. Sorry, guys. I have like some people messaging me. Yeah. So like I said, she talks about the emotional toll of returning to shape. With Seth Rollins, she trains with Seth and grapples with being both a top performer, and a parent. Just 1 second, guys. I'm so sorry. I've got like messages coming in. Do, do, do. Let me try something really quick. See if I can use this. Want to be able to let everyone know that I'm live. All right. Sorry, guys. Just getting it out there. I started getting messages when we started. So let's see. Samoa's contracted up and Jericho determined. Yes. I do know about Samoa Joe. His contract is about to come up, obviously. And then Chris Jericho is already signed with WWE. It's just a matter of, when we're going to see Chris, which I think they're saving that for like a big moment for the Royal Rumble, honestly. So I really feel like that's when that's gonna happen. Um but let's get back to episode 1. So like I said, it's focusing mainly on Becky Lynch. Like I said, she lets everybody know that this is her last run, and her ultimate goal is to put Lyra over. She really feels like Lyra is like the backbone of the company, and she's gonna be like a future star. It shows the creative team plans Becky's surprise return as WrestleMania as the Lyra Valkyria tag partner, a moment that gets a monster huge pop. Um, when her music hit, like you could like see the fans. Like there was one girl in the crowd that was like crying, and they were like obviously after the match, creative and gorilla, because you can see everything. Like what I like about this show is you can actually see, because I have people in these GC chats and they're like, oh, wrestling's not scripted. It's not. It's they're really, I mean, they're really hitting each other, and I mean, I'm like, I mean, what are we talking about here? This is 100% scripted. I mean, you watch the show and you see Triple H and the rest of creative sitting back there in Gorilla, and they're sending messages throughout the entire match, and they're letting them know like when to start, like you know the instance where Chelsea broke her nose, and obviously when in episode 4 where they really break down the Seth Rollins, um the stuff with Seth Rollins, you get all of that. Like, so people that think that this is not a scripted sport, like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This sport is WWE is 100% scripted. Um, That's why Samoa and team lost the tag titles. Yeah, I don't know who you are, but you're an idiot. So anyway, I'm just gonna pretend like I didn't see that. There's just a moron in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and block them. Ban user. All right, so they are kicked. Because I don't tolerate that. If you're going to come up into my stream, then you will get banned. Calling me a crackhead and stuff like that. You're an idiot. So go or go get a hobby or do whatever you want to do, but don't come back on my stream. Where I work every single fucking day, and you want to come on here and call me a crackhead and tell me that to go enjoy crack. Yeah, Miami just missed it. I actually had to. Let's see if I can pull this shit back up so that you can actually see this. I don't know how to do that. But I had a fucking idiot in here that was talking shit. I don't know how to. Let me see something. I mean, I banned him, but I don't know how to get his comments back up. Anyway, this guy Jay Wrestler, come on here, and it was like, enjoy your crack and all this. Just he's a fucking idiot. So he's banned. And just like that. I don't understand. You people don't have anything better to do. Why are you even subscribed to my channel? Like, if you're gonna come in here and call me a drug head and tell me to go get back on the crack, I don't do drugs. I do YouTube streams every day. And yeah, that's crazy. But you're banned. You can get the fuck out of here. Go play in the traffic. I mean, you started off coming in here with like talking about AEW, stuff like that, but then you told me crazy shit. So you can get the fuck out and never come back to my shit. You are banned. I wish you guys could have seen the comments, but obviously I kicked them before you guys, because I didn't know if you guys would be. Shout out to Miami the Great, head of the table, the CEO of DWE, for reposting the stream. I can't believe these people. I'm definitely not going to put that on a short, because that was absolutely awful. But let's get back to episode 1. The creative team planned Becky's surprise at WrestleMania. So, okay. I can't pull his comments back up. I don't know how to do that. I kicked him. This at Jay Wrestler, obviously you're like a co-host into StreamYard. Coming here and said, enjoy your crack. And told me to go smoke, go keep smoking crack and doing crystal meth or whatever. That I'm a fucking idiot and all this other shit. I mean, first he come in here talking about like AEW and Triple H and all that, and then he just goes to that. And I was like, all right, well, that's when I texted you, and I was like, all right, there's problems in the stream, but I banned him. I don't know how to get his comments back up. I really don't want to look at him again, but yeah. So hopefully, I gotta find the subscribe. Yeah. Just absolutely uncalled for people to do that, to come in the stream. Sorry, I started late, bro. I literally finished the 5th episode. So, like I said, Becky's main goal, like she talked about in episode 1, is she is coming back for the first time since having her baby. and she has like signed her last deal. Like she's on her final run with the company. She was worried about, the fans' reaction to when she came out at WrestleMania, and like I said, there was a little girl out in the stand, or in the arena, that was crying. I mean, it was a super huge pop for Becky, and then obviously she was concerned as well about like what she could do to help get Lyra Valkyria over. Yeah, it's just straight fucking trollers, I swear to God. Can't do anything right. Shout out to DW Replays, DW Host, reposting the stream. Shout out to Talk It Up Wrestling Podcast. Make sure you give them a follow on X, and make sure you give them a hit that subscription bell on their YouTube channels. Miami the Great as the host. Final Boss Baby is the co-host of Talk It Up Wrestling Podcast. They are having a WWE watch party. I believe me if I'm wrong, Miami. I have so much to keep up with right now. Like I said, yeah, I mean, that was just pure disrespect. Like, I can handle people coming in here, like, debating. Like, I'm cool with that. You know that. Like, I'm all up for a debate. But don't come in here calling me a drug head and telling me to go smoke crack. I've never touched that shit in my entire life. So, yeah. So, I don't play that. Once you start talking like that, like, you got to get the fuck out. Yeah, on Twitch next week. I have to get Twitch, because obviously if I don't, then I'm not gonna be able to watch the watch along. I think I do have Twitch. I think I'm already subscribed to you guys, or maybe it's Spotify. I don't know. I have one of them. At some point, if I can ever get my subscribers up, I would love to be able to have my stuff go not now, but maybe a year down the road or something, maybe go to having my shit go to Spotify and stuff like that. When I get like big and stuff like Miami and them are, they are like booming 600 plus subscribers. I haven't even hit 2, but I will get there, regardless of what these haters and all that say. So yeah, he's kicked. So I'll figure out how to ban that fucking idiot. But make sure you tune in to the DW watch party for Royal Rumble. I also will be having a Royal Rumble prediction show. Yeah, I mean, since Sunday, I'm gonna be going 11 or 12 days straight, with about 12 streams. So, people can kiss my ass when it comes to that, I guess. I'm definitely not clipping that either. But yeah, next week, I haven't got the complete details on who's showing up for the Royal Rumble prediction show, but it's going to be fucking huge. I know that Suds and Square Circle Media is obviously joining me tomorrow for the Saturday Night Main Event. But also, I'm going to have Suds. I know for sure Lady Alpha from Wrestling Divas Podcast from Giving Table Media. I'm not 100% sure about Autumn. She had some stuff go on in her personal life. Prayers are still going out to her and her family. I'm not putting that on the air. That's her business to tell. And Miami the Great, obviously, will be on the Royal Rumble prediction show. As far as I know, Lady Alpha, Suds and Squared, Miami, myself, that's 4, maybe Autumn, 5. Hopefully, Final Boss Baby is 6. I did let her know it's next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully, also Director Reg and World of Greg. I have room for 8. I have room for 10, but preferably I like to get at least somewhere between 6 and 8, because we already have the men's and the women's Rumble. I expect them maybe to have one more match, but obviously we're going to be doing a lot of deep diving into the women's and the men's Rumble on predictions and stuff. And I'm looking forward to it. Like, it should be a fun panel, a lot of numbers. So let's get back to the episode. But a shout out to Talk It Up Wrestling Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to them on YouTube as well, and on Twitch, and Spotify. DW Radio is on Spotify now, and make sure you catch that DW Watch Party next Saturday. for the Royal Rumble, I will be tuned into that because obviously I will be doing a Royal Rumble recap show, and it won't be at fucking 10 o'clock at night because they're in Saudi Arabia. So I'll be doing it about 8 p.m. Eastern. Because I believe the pre-show is advertised on the ESPN app for like 5 p.m. Eastern or something like that. But like I told Miami earlier, I don't even know what the weather is going to be. Well, that's next weekend. This weekend, I'm hoping I can get through all of my streams because we have like the governor's like called in like state of emergency, and like they're calling for up to 16 to 19 inches of snow. So yeah, I'm definitely fucking not looking forward to that. So if it's going to be doing that here, there's no telling what the weather's going to be like in Denver and Seattle for those football games. So the episode explored Becky's mindset, feeling she's accomplished much already and now wants to give back and elevate new talent like Lyra Valkyria. Lyra was actually talking about how much it meant to her to have Becky to win those tag titles with her, to see Becky come down, to hear that pop at WrestleMania. Obviously, there was a lot of upset fans on the Bayley end about her getting taken out of the match, but ultimately, like, it led to a bigger story. And I mean, now Bayley and Lyra are together, and everything works out. Triple H talks about in episode 1 how, well, I don't really think it's in episode 1. I think it's more on the Chelsea Green up there. I'll dive into that when we get there. But what I loved about what Triple H said is something that me and Miami, we talk about a lot in our YouTube streams and even when we did Twitter Spaces, is Road Dogg, and I believe it was Road Dogg, was pushing for Chelsea Green to get that title back on her after she lost it. And Triple H is like, so Chelsea's great. She's amazing. She had just signed a new 5-year deal. But but Triple H always wants to know, like, what's next. So, like, I loved hearing that from Triple H because he was fucking 100% right. Like, what's next? What's next is she's going against the same fucking opponents as she's already. I mean, he named them, like B-Fab, Zelina, Michin, like it's the same people. So that's why they didn't immediately put the title on her, and then they gave that moment to Zelina. But we're still on episode 1. Lyra, her real name is Aoife Cusack, shares how Becky inspired her career, including a personal training moment that made her emotional. Her rise from NXT strong performer to becoming Women's Intercontinental Champion is shown. The episode captures her nervousness before WrestleMania and the emotional realism of performing with a legend like the man Becky Lynch. So then, towards the end of episode 1, titled No Days Off, we get the story that was told with the commentator. Obviously, he hosts a show on ESPN. He's a former punter for the Indianapolis Colts, none other than Pat McAfee. So WWE wanted to figure out after WrestleMania, after Jay beat Gunther, you have Gunther come out there pissed off. Obviously, he tapped out. The fans are all over him. How do you tell the story to get Pat McAfee and Gunther involved in a match? And how they were able to do that was to have Gunther come out there and get mad, and then obviously rip Michael Cole away from the announce booth and put him in the sleeper. And then obviously Pat McAfee delivers a blow, and it's so great how you can just, like, people that don't think this shit is scripted, like, watch this show. It is 100% scripted. I mean, you can hear them, like, telling the referee or whoever's talking to the wrestlers, I believe it's the referees, like, they literally told Gunther when to release the sleeper hold. They told Pat McAfee during the match when to, like, power up out of the sleeper hold and stuff like that. So It's just crazy that um it's done like that. Like they showed a little bit of that season one, but not a whole lot. But we got new WWE personality. Pat McAfee has given a storyline leading to a real match with Gunther. Pat McAfee hasn't been in too many matches, but he did defeat Austin Theory and also defeated The Miz. We see him preparing physically and mentally, practicing the chops because Gunther will chop your chest until it is completely red. Working out, rehearsing spots. WWE creative team discusses whether to have Pat McAfee win, eventually deciding that losing but making McAfee look courageous and resilient fits better. So basically what they mean by that was there was a pitch for Pat to beat Gunther, but ultimately the way he performed in the ring against Gunther ultimately put Pat McAfee over, even with the loss. So it was a win-win. Gunther gets the win. He stays strong after coming off a huge Uso. And obviously, Pat McAfee gets that rub and gets that push. So I enjoyed that. So we get the match at Backlash. McAfee goes toe-to-toe with Gunther despite losing. The crowd reaction and respect he earns is portrayed as a victory in itself. So Triple H, WWE chief content officer in the series, repeatedly comes up, emphasizing 365 days a year, no days off, and the constant creative planning on the road from event to event. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this, and then obviously, we'll wind down on episode 1. But Triple H says that the way their calendar works in WWE is everything is planned all the way up to get to that big stage at WrestleMania. And then, like, that's what he means by no days off. Because, like, after WrestleMania is over, then that next Raw after WrestleMania, they're right back at it. And it's full steam ahead, building storylines, making new feuds. Because ultimately, they want to lead that build ultimately to SummerSlam. So, like, yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, they even showed everything on the calendar. It's great. So the episode shows producers and creative staff dissecting ideas and scenes, highlighting the planning that goes into booking WrestleMania, Backlash, and SummerSlam matches. There's clear emphasis on balancing wrestlers' well-being with the grueling pace of WWE's schedule, hence the episode's title and overarching theme. The key themes to episode 1 is work versus personal life, especially through Seth and Becky, balancing family with performance, mentorship and legacy with Becky's evolving role from star to mentor of Lyra Valkyria, the physical and emotional demands, wrestlers preparing physically, coping with injury risk, and the mental grind of working 365 days a year, and then the creative decision making, which is through WWE's writing room, debating outcomes and story directions. So that pretty much sums up the episode 1. So give me just 1 second to kind of get a breath, and then we will get into episode 2. Episode 2 is titled "The Truth." And this one was probably one of my favorites for sure. The runtime was 57 minutes. This is an episode 2 titled "The Truth." This tells the legitimate and real story on what really happened with R-Truth. You can see that his contract was coming up, and then obviously it seemed that he didn't get re-signed at that point in time, but then he went and posted on social media that he was fired, but he actually was not fired. And you can see like the relationship that him and Road Dogg had through the years. I mean, all the way through the year, Road Dogg was like tore up when he saw the news. But like social media went into this big outbreak about R-Truth, and yeah, I mean this episode was definitely great. So the focus for this episode was for R-Truth's career uncertainty, contract conflict, surprise return, and the reinvention of Jimmy Uso's wife Naomi. So the main storyline of episode 2, titled "The Truth," which I've already talked about a little bit. R-Truth, career crossroads behind the scenes. The episode opens on R-Truth, aka Ron Killings, backstage reflecting on his long WWE career and all his past personas in WWE. He talks about how much the character means to him and its legacy in WWE comedy and fan favorite moments. Like R-Truth is like, he's like Cody was like, oh, we got to get R-Truth back. So many wrestlers and announcers and just everybody was just heartbroken that they thought R-Truth was gone. He is just so well loved. Not only backstage, and he received a call from Nick Khan, and that absolutely like eased his mind. And we got that R-Truth that we love back, which was great. We see how his contract negotiations stalled. WWE and R-Truth's team couldn't agree on terms, leading to a breakdown in communication. So, like I said, there was a breakdown in communication on his contract, but ultimately R-Truth went and tweeted out on X that he was fired, and that was not accurate information. So that spread like wildfire. I mean, I've seen people that I see all the time, Elite Rockers and a few other people from X that I see posting news and stuff. I saw their stuff. I saw a bunch of YouTube people. I was actually looking for one of me and Miami's comments. We obviously, our stream didn't make it on Unreal. Maybe next season, Miami. Maybe next season we'll get on there, or at least like our comments from X or something would be great. But like comment, I saw him on there as well. So that they did show a lot of stuff on there, which I thought was super awesome. So he had a contract negotiation stall. Ultimately, Nick Khan gave R-Truth a call. They panned it out. They worked it out. Obviously, everybody was happy at the end of the day. Truth later tweeted that he was released, which surprised many since per WWE's Triple H, he wasn't technically fired, but his contract had expired. Fellow wrestlers and creative figures react. Rhea Ripley speaks highly of him, and Cody Rhodes and others express disbelief and sadness of the news of losing R-Truth. Road Dogg, who basically took R-Truth like mentor, like best friends, he like when he got the news, he said on episode 2, like he pulled over his car and ultimately like just lost it, like got super emotional, started crying. I mean, none of us wanted to see R-Truth go. R-Truth is a legend. Appreciate that, Miami. I don't know if you just posted that, but I try, man. I got a lot of shit coming up. Busy week. Tomorrow, Saturday night main event predictions. Looking forward to that. SmackDown Friday, Saturday night main event recap Saturday, Sunday Scoop Sunday, Raw Monday, 2 shows Tuesday, Raw Rumble predictions Wednesday, and then I get an off day next Thursday. So I'll be running for 13 days, or no, not 13 days, but 10 days, but 12 streams straight. So a lot of content creators don't do that. Obviously, it's not something that I plan to do all the time, but when you got these back-to-back PLEs, the Saturday night main events kind of counterlapped on top of the Royal Rumble, got to cover it, got to get that content out there. So the only thing the fucking Raw, you need to get your shit together. We need to get something going. I haven't seen anything besides Braun Breaker is going to be on Raw, which I'll talk about that at the end of the show. But obviously, I feel like he's just going to show up. Adam Pearce got a call last week. I think Braun Breaker's going to be removed from the suspension, but I think it's going to be under an ulterior motive, like where Braun has to enter the Rumble like at 1 or number 2. So he's not winning the Rumble anyway, but he's gonna probably have to enter the Rumble like 1 or 2. But he is gonna be on Raw Monday, so ultimately we might have to go with Braun Breaker and the Vision, Miami. So like I said, Cody Rhodes and Rhea expressed disbelief. Road Dogg gets emotional. So we're shown a WWE creative meeting where R-Truth's idea to shave his head. Obviously, R-Truth comes back. And we're shown a WWE creative meeting where Truth's idea to shave his head. R-Truth pitched to Triple H if he could shave his head. Obviously, we saw him come back during the Money in the Bank match with Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes against Logan Paul. And we saw, obviously, R-Truth lose to John Cena Saturday Night's Main Event, but then we saw at Money in the Bank, we saw R-Truth come in like in the black jumpsuit and the hoodie and, jump in and attack John Cena, spear him, hit him with the belt, and then Cody Rhodes hit the crossroads for the 1, 2, 3 on Cena. So then R-Truth pitches to Triple H that he wants to cut his hair, go bald. And then he's laughing, like just cutting up. He's a fool. He wants to shave his head ahead of his big match against John Cena. Becomes a point of contention. Triple H questions his purpose, but Truth insists, showing his personality and personal stakes. A build-out culminates in a Saturday Night Main Event match where Truth dresses as Ron Cena, which was fucking hilarious. That's why we have to have Truth. Like, he's great to try and bring back the real. His whole goal here was like he worshipped John Cena, and I think that was the first piece of the puzzle for me, to where we were gonna see where we were seeing the crack in John Cena, where he was ultimately gonna go back to that babyface role. Was when he went against R-Truth. Cena dominated him, put him through a table at the press post conference. R-Truth runs out there, starts congratulating Cena. Cena wasn't having it. It was right after he beat Cody, and he fucking hits him with an AA through the table. Their backstage interaction after warm, reflecting respect, even after the beatdown. There's so much mutual respect back and forth between John Cena and R-Truth. And then we get R-Truth's return at Money in the Bank that I talked about earlier. After contract talks continue with WWE President Nick Khan and Triple H, R-Truth re-signs a deal that is finalized on the exact same day, which all the reports were fucking wrong, even mine. His contract was signed on the day of Money in the Bank. So, and like I said, he ran in like Cody, covered up, attacked John Cena, hit him with the championship belt. You could hear them in Gorilla telling him what to do. Like they fucking rehearsed it for you people that don't think this shit's scripted. It's scripted. Watch this show, and watch season 3 because I'll be covering that as well when it comes out next year. It's definitely scripted, but yeah, that led to Cody beating John at Money in the Bank, or pinning John. It was a tag match. So at the end of the women's Money in the Bank match, we see a secret plan unfold, or at the end of the tag team Money in the Bank match, we see a secret plan unfold, and a hooded figure runs in and attacks John Cena. During the Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso versus Cena Logan Paul match, it turns out to be R-Truth's triumphant return, immediately setting up SummerSlam angles, which obviously Cody Rhodes versus John Cena at SummerSlam. Emotional reactions abound, backstage hugs, crowd you could hear the crowd during the match at Money in the Bank chanting, "We want truth, we want truth." And I mean, we got Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso and Logan Paul and John Cena out there on his retirement tour, and they're chanting for truth. So he's so well loved by WWE Universe. So then toward, the back half of episode 2, The Truth, it is focused on this episode also delves into Naomi's story. She talks about how, at the beginning of it, she talked about that Jimmy Uso is a very good cook. And Jimmy's like, oh, we really wouldn't be eating good if it wasn't for me. And she's like, oh, we'd be eating, but it was just funny. Them two are great. I love her and Jimmy. But obviously, Jimmy Uso is a great cook. And she did talk about the lineage and the story of the Anoa'i dynasty. They even showed the thing that we saw before WrestleMania 40, the tree with like how it goes all the way up to the top, which is a prelude, as I said on Sunday Scoops, Rock Roman WrestleMania 43, but I'm not going to break it today. We're going to talk about it on Sunday Scoops. I'm going to make you guys wait because this is about Unreal, but it's 100% happening. It's locked. Rock has already been interviewed about it. It's definitely happening. We're getting Rock Roman WrestleMania 43. So, she actually was her background, she was a dancer. I believe it was for a basketball team. I think it was maybe the Orlando Magic. I could be wrong. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I had just a lot of shit to remember, a lot of notes to take. But she was like a dancer for a sports team. And previously parted ways from WWE after tension in the women's tag team division, which she really got emotionally affected by that. And I think that was like one of my favorite tag teams is obviously when she was tag champs with Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné now with AEW, which I don't ever see Sasha Banks coming back to WWE. I think that ship has sailed. So then after her departure from WWE, we get the long-awaited return of Naomi at the Royal Rumble 2024, where I believe she came in as entrant number 2 and Natalya was entrant number 1. She got a huge monster pop. She was crying. It was great to see Naomi come back. And then after that, then they say, okay, Naomi talks about how she was very adamant and okay with doing a heel turn. She said it was time for a new character development for her, which before she got pregnant, like for me, like, and they showed it like all these different podcasters and streamers and stuff and YouTube comments, like she killed it as a heel. She was absolutely killing it. She embraces the heel character. She talked about how, how it all started with her, Jade, and Bianca. The envy set in with Naomi from Bianca and Jade. She actually throws Jade onto a car. And she revealed herself as an attacker, Jade Cargill. She explains her mindset and how this new persona has reinvigorated her career. So we then see create a meeting discussing Money in the Bank as a prime opportunity to elevate her, with Rhea Ripley and others discussing the physical and symbolic impact of winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. Because you could go from the bottom to the absolute tip top with that Money in the Bank win, because that secures you that about 95% chance that you are going to be a champion. And Rhea Ripley's first, this was actually Rhea Ripley's first ladder match. So as far as the episode themes, identity and legacy, R-Truth's love for his character and what it meant to fans and colleagues. Contract, obviously Naomi went on to win the women's Money in the Bank at the end. There was great wrestlers in that match. It was Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Alexa Bliss, and Stephanie Vacour was in that match. And Naomi ended up winning Money in the Bank. You see her and Jimmy celebrating in the back. Jimmy tried to take off with the briefcase. I was cracking up. It was funny. Contract reality versus public perception, how creative business decisions and social media announcements can clash. So one thing I do want to touch on before we move on, like finish up this and move on to episode 3. you can see like Bobby Roode in one of is either this episode or episode 3 of The Vision. Like he comes back there to talk to Triple H, and Triple H is on his fucking phone. Guess what he's doing, Miami, and everybody? He's fucking looking at social media to see if somebody's putting out leaks. That man is obsessed with social media and looking for leaks. Cut it out, Triple H. Stay on these 2 headsets in front of that computer, pushing them buttons, telling the referee and telling them wrestlers what to do, and stop worrying about what the hell is going on social media. But when Bobby Roode walked up to him, you could see he was like on his phone and shit. He was probably checking X. That man got something serious. So we get the return, the reinvention, the fan influence from Naomi's heel evolution to R-Truth, crowd pleasing comeback. So yeah, that is the end of episode 2. Let me get my notes out for episode 3. So episode 3. Episode 3 is titled The Vision. So this was a pivotal episode. You can in this episode you can see where Triple H goes in and they're talking about creative, like, you know, how the Vision is that they show like the double heel turn where Paul turns on Punk and Roman at WrestleMania and ends up joining Seth Rollins after 10 years. Triple H even said that that they started planting the seeds for Seth and Paul back at like Royal Rumble, which is crazy because I didn't even see it. A lot of times I want to dog the shit out of Triple H, but at the end of the day, he really is about the long-term storytelling, but he just likes to go really fucking long. But yeah, so they talk about the double turn, and then they're in the creative meetings, like Paul's talking about, well, you know, what they're trying to do now is they're trying to find someone to join the Vision that's going to be elevating the Vision's a younger star that's going to be main eventing WrestleMania 5 years from now. And obviously that's someone that we talked about, me and Miami and several others have talked about on a lot of streams. And that's Bron Breakker. He's one of the future pieces of the company, as well as Bronson Reed, Logan Paul just signed, Dominic Mysterio, obviously Oba Femi. They're really hyping him really up. But yeah, let's get to episode 3 titled The Vision. The runtime was 53 minutes. So the focus of this episode is the mindset and strategy behind WWE's creative direction post WrestleMania, where Seth Rollins came out of that triple threat, beating Roman Reigns and CM Punk and his faction, The Vision. So they were trying to. So that's when we see Ryan Ward. And he's like, all right, we got to come up with a name for Seth's faction. We don't have to do it tomorrow. But then, you know, Paul, Triple H, Paul Levesque, Triple H obviously talking about how, you know, Seth is a visionary. So, like, it's his vision. So, obviously, there we go with the Vision. And then you can see in Gorilla, like, they actually tell Bron Breakker and Gorilla, like, that Roman's actually going to show up the next night on Raw, and that Braun is going to spear the shit out of Roman and end up joining the Vision. And Braun was like, you could just see the emotion on Braun. So like, I like these shows. A lot of people don't because they don't want to go behind the curtain and see all that shit. But I mean, we're already behind the fucking curtain. There's 50,000 people reporting all over social media. So you guys don't. Let me turn to the left so you can see the jacket. Where's it at? Unreal season review. Miami made that for me. So featuring Seth Rollins' faction of the Vision, the men's Money in the Bank match, Penta's rise, and Chelsea Green's journey. So we get talking about Seth Rollins' division. The episode opens with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman reflecting on their partnership that started around WrestleMania, emphasizing that the vision is a long-term plan to build Seth into the face of WWE. Paul speaks about even at Seth's age, like he's still in his prime peak to lead WWE. Heyman even frames the current character shift as planting seeds for Seth main eventing WrestleMania years down the line, also Braun Breaker as well. Triple H stresses the importance of vision and future planning, that success comes from precise storytelling and helping younger talent elevate. And that's what I literally just talked about that with Braun Breaker. So then we get to the debut of Yoshihiro Miedo, Penta. The episode follows Pentagon Jr. as he reflects on his long journey in wrestling from Mexico's lucha scene to WWE. He talked about the meaning of his mask, his career growth, and how meaningful the crowd reaction has been. WWE producer Chris Parks, aka Abyss, if you guys don't know who that is, works with talent on the upcoming matches. But during Penta's thing, they were talking about like when he made his debut. Obviously, like they're talking about during that Money in the Bank match when he was up there with Seth, like the fans were like cheering so loud. They wanted Penta to win. Like he has that great interaction with the fans. He has that great interaction with the children. So like that was something that Creative and Triple H and all them noticed in the back, and that's stuff that they pay attention to when it comes to this long-term storytelling and where they're going to go in the future with these superstars. So yeah, that's great for Penta. Penta's got hopefully we'll see some title, some gold around Penta's waist at some point. So WWE producer Chris Parks Abyss works with talent on the upcoming matches, emphasizing how showcase spots like the Money in the Bank ladder match elevate performers like Penta. So let's talk about the Money in the Bank men's ladder match. 2025 men's Money in the Bank ladder match is a major focus. The episode showed portions of Penta working big spots and the complex coordination required in a multi-man ladder match. Like I said, the fans really want him to win. Seth Rollins ultimately wins the briefcase, though the finish doesn't go as originally planned. WWE officials wanted more dramatic build-up between Seth Rollins and LA Knight on top of that ladder, but adjustments during the match changed. And as I tell you guys all the time when y'all come at me when I'm wrong, there you heard it there, right there. It comes straight from episode 3 of the Vision. It literally changed mid-match. Like they wanted Seth and LA to be the last two up on that ladder, but it was changed. So shit changes on the fucking fly with Triple H. Like I said, this leads to creative and producer discussing how the moment played out differently than their vision. A key element is a creative meeting where Triple H, Paul Heyman, and Bruce Pritchard map out future angles, including how Seth Rollins' group can help elevate rising stars like Braun Breaker and Big Bronson Reed as part of the larger vision narrative, which I spoke about earlier. Paul Heyman highlights how crowd reactions, not just planned moments, shape future bookings. And that's what booking decision. That's what I talked about earlier. It's not always about like who you are. It's about your interaction with the crowd, how the crowd's interacting with you. And that does ultimately determine how you're booked in WWE. Especially when someone like Penta gets over with the audience, and they made reference to that with the kids and stuff. After the Money in the Bank match, Division showed up on events like Saturday Night's Main Event and Night of Champions, interfering in high-profile matches such as John Cena versus CM Punk. They showed Seth Rollins teasing a cash-in on Punk, and the faction influence impact outcomes and crowd heat, reinforcing their narrative presence. So Seth Rollins admits he's frustrated that certain high-impact moments didn't hit exactly as planned, revealing the drive for perfection. He said he is an absolute perfectionist and storytelling precision in WWE's creative philosophy. So the themes of the episode basically was the vision versus execution, highlighting how WWE's long-term creative vision sometimes clashes with unpredictable match execution, elevating talent, focus on how established stars help build younger wrestlers to key moments, and group dynamics, behind the scenes craft, showing the planning, coordinating, and creative discussions that shape major match outcomes and character arcs. Yeah, so episode 3 was really good. I enjoyed it. And then obviously I don't want to leave it out. But on episode 3 as well, you can see Chelsea Green. Obviously, she's from Canada. They show her house in Florida, how she's looking forward to eventually, having children. She shows where she's going to put the title belts, and then they show her becoming the first women's United States champion, and then obviously losing to Zelina, and then having her nose broke in that match, where Zelina botched the 619. And they talk about exactly what I said earlier, like if she wins the title back, like who is she gonna defend the title against? And so like Chelsea Green was unsure after losing to Zelina Vega that second time at Saturday Night's Main Event, like where her direction and storytelling was going to go. Like, was she going to go to she said tip top tippy time? But like Michael Hayes said, Chelsea Green is never going to be like a Charlotte Flair or Tiffany Stratton, but she's so charismatic and so like great at storytelling that she can help like people like Tiffany Stratton, the younger wrestlers, Stephanie McCord, people like that, and even Charlotte Flair. But as far as like being on that elite level, I don't know if she's ever gonna be that. But she did talk about signing a new 5-year contract where she was gonna put her titles at her house, and then ultimately she does eventually want to have babies. So yeah, that was the end of episode number 3. So it's also talked about elevating talent, focused on how established stars help build younger wrestlers to key moments behind the scenes craft, showing the planning, coordinating, creative discussions that shape major match outcomes and character arcs. So we are going to move on. We are an hour and 8 minutes in, guys. I said it's probably going to be a 2-hour stream. So we're going to be close. Shout out to the 46 people. I know it's not a lot, but I didn't really expect a huge turnout because a lot of people haven't even watched the show. It hasn't been out, but 2 days? But yeah, we are going to move on to episode 4, which is called Performance Art, which was absolutely my favorite. So episode number 4 is titled Performance Art. Is the 4th episode of the of season 2 of Unreal. It actually ran for 61 minutes, so it was over an hour. Hour 1 minute. Like if I watched all 5 of these episodes within like a day and a half in between doing all these streams. I've been going to bed like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I think if you watch all 5 episodes, then you're looking at about 300, about 6 hours of programming on five episodes for me to be able to get all this in 2 hours. Miami made me an extra thumb, but I was like, I'm not gonna need it. We're gonna get it in. I'm not gonna dive into every single thing. We're just gonna recap it and do the best we can do, and yeah, move on to tomorrow, just our next main event. So this entry dives into one of the biggest and most carefully guarded moments in recent WWE history, which, again, let's talk about this. They said it on episode 4. There was only 3 people, maybe 4 or 5, in the whole entire company that knew about Seth Rollins' heel turn. Knew about Seth Rollins' injury being at work, which you can see Triple H going over to Cody Rhodes and saying, "You are the guy." Like he told Cody Rhodes about it, and he wasn't even involved in the match. He just told him, "Don't tell anybody else." But I did miss a key part of R-Truth. Michael Cole had never told about R-Truth returning. So like the excitement on Michael Cole's face, or not face, but his reaction to R-Truth coming back was priceless. You guys will definitely don't want to miss that. Not a lot of people were told about the John Cena heel turn. Only they said about top 6 people. There were so many people that was left out. Like, even the R-Truth stuff, like Logan Paul didn't know about it. I don't think Jey Uso knew about it. Because Logan was like freaking out in the back after it happened. It was like, holy shit, like R-Truth, you know. There were so many people that didn't even know. Triple H didn't tell everybody. So Seth Rollins in this episode, like, he does get a little upset with Triple H that LA Knight is actually going to know about the work. But Triple H is like, well, if the shoe was on the other foot, you would 100% want to know as well, because it's all about, in WWE or any wrestling promotion, high-dollar wrestling promotion, it's all about, you know, protection and all of that, the safety of the superstars. So, like I said, John Cena's heel turn Elimination Chamber, along with the men's Elimination Chamber match and other backstage sessions. The main storylines covered is John Cena's heel turn Elimination Chamber, obviously on Cody Rhodes. Hardest episode is how WWE created, planned, and executed the shocking moment when John Cena, Long, the Ultimate Good Guy, turned heel during the 2025 Elimination Chamber event. We get a look at backstage creative meetings with Triple H, Nick Khan, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Brian Gueritz, which is The Rock's head writer, Cody Rhodes, and Cena himself. Like I said, that's 1. Triple H, Nick Khan, Dwayne Johnson, that's 3. His writer, Brian Gueritz, and Cody Rhodes, that's 5. 5 people knew. Of 6, Cena are involved in planning and agreed to this angle. This group kept the true plan secret from most of the roster and production crew to preserve its impact and also to preserve leaks online. The series shows how they sold the idea to Cena, weighing how it would affect his personal brand, movies, and Make-A-Wish legacy, and that Cena ultimately embraced the twist, sending creative ideas back to Triple H immediately afterwards. The episode highlights that this was not just a random betrayal, but a calculated move designed to elevate Elimination Chamber, because we know that The Rock was called, and ultimately, you know, it had to sell tickets. So yeah. So the episode shows creative plan for the men's Elimination Chamber match. Spots were discussed and choreographed at a time by CM Punk, how the structure and match pace, and there also some focus on the New Day's heel turn. It's point out shipping a long time plan favorite group. Yeah, I mean, mainly like this is talking. This is a breakdown of also like Seth Rollins and everything that went down with his. Ultimately, his I mean, you've seen all the Twitter posts and everything about, is this a work? And I mean, LA Knight performed magically on that. Like, obviously, like, you know, you get to see like LA Knight talking to, I think it's Jason Jordan, or it may have been Bobby Roode, about how they were going to plan it out. There was only a few people that even knew about it. So they had to perfect it perfectly in order for it all to pan out to where, and Seth Rollins even says in an interview, you just really never know if it's really a work or a shoot. But they fooled the shit out of me too. So yeah, that was definitely great. It just kind of breaks through the whole, it shows like step by step, the plans of, you know, Seth Rollins, faking the injury. Obviously he ate the pin. You can hear him tell him in the back to end the match, and how, you know, they didn't want to like get the medical team I can't out there because like they did, but they didn't want the shit to just completely get shut down. So that's good stuff. Episode 4 was absolutely my favorite. So we will wind on down to episode 5 called The Pop. Sorry, I'm getting my notes out. I have so many notes on this. We're an hour and 16 minutes in. So, I don't know what happened right there. So it looks like the runtime was 65 minutes. The Pop centered on WrestleMania 41, the culmination of the season's arc, showing how creative decision, in-ring results, and emotional peaks came together at WWE's biggest stage. Obviously, before, and I believe it was in episode 4. They do talk about Io Sky. She does reveal her real name, and they show her in a warehouse or a gym or something, and she's like doing a fucking handstand on the wall for like 5 minutes, which is absolutely incredible. There's so many notes, like it's so hard to like keep up with everything, but Io doing that handstand 5 minutes, like that is fucking that is super hard to do. Anybody home to try it. So this episode dives into preparation, execution of several marquee matches. Triple threat main event involving CM Punk with Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, obviously Gunther and Jey Uso. Featured prominence spotlighting how WWE's creative team balanced legacy, momentum, and star power and crafting this WrestleMania moment. In the women's division, the episode explored the intense build-up and execution of triple threat between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Ultimately, the episode culminates with Cody Rhodes with John Cena, part of Cena's retirement tour. The match carried a huge emotional weight with both men's careers and legacy on the line. As with earlier episodes, the Pop showed WWE writers' room and creative sessions as they finalized decisions that shaped WrestleMania's card and in-ring outcomes. These scenes underscore how fluid and collaborative, yet intense, the creative process can be. There's also covered the spontaneous crowd reactions, how officials adjust storylines, or final creative notes right up to showtime, emphasizing that Pop moments, huge crowd reactions matter as much as planned finishes in WWE storytelling. So there's big stage pressure. WrestleMania is framed as the ultimate proving ground, not just for in-ring performance, but for WWE's creative storytelling. Legacy versus innovation through matches like Cena versus Rhodes and the Punk Rollins Reigns clash. The episode reflects on how WWE balances honoring legacies while pushing new narratives forward. The Pop itself. The title highlights how instant reaction, the Pop, can validate creative choices and elevate moments beyond the scripted page. So episode 5 was 100% my favorite episode. It was the longest, it was 62 minutes. But it just really dives into everything WrestleMania wise. John Cena winning the title, Cody, everything like that. The Seth, the Seth win over Punk and Roman. This was a lot to cover, guys. I probably missed a few things, and if I did, I apologize. And if I did, you know what? You go watch the show yourself. It's 5 episodes. It's about 6 hours of content. I did a pre-record for season 1, which is on the EVP Show channel. So if you want to go check that out, I have almost 200 views on it. I doubt I'll get that with this because there's only about 50 people in here. But yeah, I really love season 2. I honestly did. I feel like it was just ultimately every episode was phenomenal to me. There wasn't one that I can just pinpoint that was boring. Season 1, I didn't really know what to expect, but now, like, after that, like, you could like CM Punk said he didn't want to be involved in all that stuff, but you can see a more deep in depth of how things go creatively, and how shit changes last minute, because all the people that don't believe that they change shit on the fly, they ultimately said it tonight, that shit does change on the fly. But I would give the show overall episode season 2, I would give it about an 8.75 out of 10. It's a must watch. If you haven't watched it, please go and check it out. So before we go, we are an hour and a half in. I actually got it in before 2 hours, which I had a fucking idiot in here earlier. Shout out to Miami the Great, the CEO and head of the table. He said, "What the hell did I miss? You missed a fucking idiot in here." Shout out to DWE Replays. Yeah, I was expecting a lot more people, but I guess a lot of people haven't watched it yet. Hopefully my prediction show, we can really get some people in here tomorrow. Talk About Wrestling Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to them on X and YouTube, and make sure to pay attention to follow Miami's Twitter page as well. I think it's at Miami the Great, at Miami the Great 305. I'm trying to help get his followers back up. Yeah, next Saturday, there's going to be a DW watch party on Twitch for the Royal Rumble. Obviously, I have 2 streams covering the Rumble as well. I have a big panel coming in for the Royal Rumble prediction shows. So, you guys definitely look forward to that. I appreciate you guys, the ones that are watching or have watched, for an hour and 22 minutes. I didn't want this to go 2 hours because I wanted to generate some shorts off of this. So, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Everybody that's watched on the EVP show, my ex or my Amy's ex, obviously, I appreciate it a lot. I got a long week ahead of me, and I'm just getting started. I'm midweek right here, so like we got to hit that back stretch. No days off. Keep grinding, keep pumping. But I really enjoyed season 2 of Unreal. I'll probably definitely watch it again when I have more time, when I'm not completely booked up for 2 weeks. I do have an indie wrestler coming on in February when football season comes on. I will be starting to do a TNA Impact recap show on Thursday nights to fill the void for one of my shows that I'll be missing on Tuesday. And obviously, I'll be covering season 3 of LFG as well. So make sure you give anyone from DWE, which is Miami the Great, Final Boss Baby, The Unseen Bling Queen, Never Seen 17, After Slam Podcast, The Silver Boy, Director Reg, The World of Greg. Also, anyone affiliated with Gimmick Table Media. I'll have Suds and Square Circle Media on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys are tuned in and locked in for that. Go ahead and hit that ready button. 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going over the 3 matches for Saturday night's main event tomorrow night. Also, the Wrestling Divas podcast with Lady Alpha and Autumn, and also Kicking Out at 2 podcast. And I'm sure there's several others that I may be leaving out. If I do, I apologize, because there's just so many people to remember. But yeah, thank you guys. I'm going to go to my outro, and then I will be back to tell you where you can find me on my socials and what I have coming up next.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Predictions Sports. Let go, Show Recaps Predictions Sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Predictions Sports. Let go.
All right, let's go. So, like I said, thank you to, I think I have about 50 people in here. I was expecting to get close to 100, so a little disappointed, but it's okay. But as far as where you can find me on my socials, obviously it's at the bottom of the screen. All my links are in my bio, but you can find me on X at EVPCJP, Instagram, also same handle at EVPCJP in lowercase. On TikTok as well. I already have my videos on Instagram and TikTok posted for tomorrow's stream And tomorrow I will be posting the videos and the thumb on Instagram and TikTok for SmackDown, as well as Saturday night's main event recap Friday, and then Sunday scoops Sunday. So yeah, so it's a lot. But yeah, you can find me on TikTok at Brady the Goat 21. And most importantly, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's at the EVP Show. It's up in the right hand corner. But if you type in at the EVP Show, you can find my YouTube channel. If you guys go back and watch the video, please spam the likes, hit the comment button, and please hit the subscribe button. Any likes and comments that are in my YouTube streams, it helps put me in the algorithm. It helps my stream. It helps get my watch hours up. Ultimately, that's the long-term plan here. Hopefully to get up enough subscribers and I could get a Patreon going and do, like, you know, videos to a Patreon and stuff like that. Like, there's always long-term goals on being a content creator, but you have to take baby steps. But all my links are in the bio. You guys definitely go back and take a look at this after you watch Unreal. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely you probably didn't want to come here for spoilers, so I understand that. But you guys come here on Sunday for Sunday scoops. So with that being said, what I have coming up next, I will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, pretty early. I will be joined for the first time. I'll be welcoming him. He's from Gimmick Table Media for the first time on the EVP Show. I'll be accompanied by Suds and Squared Circle Media as we go over the Saturday night main event predictions at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Friday night, I'm back at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for the Go Home show of SmackDown and for your SmackDown recap. And then immediately following Saturday night's main event at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Saturday night, I will be back for your Saturday night's main event recap. And then I know that the conference championship games are on Sunday, but it's episode 4 of Sunday Scoops with the EVP at 6 p.m. Eastern Sunday on the EVP Show channel. Make sure to lock that in and be here. The first 30 minutes, I'll be delivering news, any updates that I've gotten between now and Sunday, which I've gotten a few bits and pieces that I put together, and I'm sure there'll be more to come in between now and Sunday. I will do the news for about 30 minutes, and I'll open up Q&A for as long as you guys are asking questions on YouTube and X. I will answer them. I will not be answering any more spoiler or scooped questions in DM. So if you want to know, you need to show up to the stream. With that being said, shout out to DWE and Gimmick Table Media, and thank you to the people that tuned in to the WWE Season 2 Unreal recap show tonight on the EVP Show channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Please show up. It's going to be a big show. We're going to be welcoming with open arms the EVP Show channel from Gimmick Table Media, Suds, and Squared Circle Media at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for Saturday night main event predictions. I will see you guys tomorrow. I am the EVP from the EVP Show and the only truly golden boy of DWE, and we are the ones. Good night, everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern for Saturday night main event predictions. Don't miss it.